Hey there, welcome to another deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
Today, we're going to be taking you through excerpts from Andy Cowell's Sink or Swim.
Okay.
And honestly, this book is a wild ride.
Yeah.
We're zeroing in on two characters, Eddie Monroe and Dominic Stevens, and their history is something else.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
So are you ready to jump in?
Absolutely. And what's so captivating here is how this novel uses a luxury cruise to explore such profound themes.
Yeah.
It's not just about the glitz and the glam.
Right.
It's a deep dive into how the past can come back to haunt you,
Yeah.
even when you think you've escaped it.
It's like a psychological thriller disguised as the vacation read.
Exactly.
We first meet Eddie, and he's on this cruise celebrating a massive win, selling his business for a fortune.
Oh.
The guy's literally tossing champagne glasses into the ocean, living the highlight.
Let me get out.
But even in this moment of pure joy, there's something a bit unsettling.
You pick up on that, too.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but Cal does a fantastic job of foreshadowing. And he keeps describing the sea like eating the glasses, almost like this vast emptiness swallowing something fragile.
Huh.
It makes you wonder, is that a hint of anxiety?
Ooh.
Is he worried that his happiness is fleeting like those disappearing champagne bubbles?
That's such a great observation.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's like a little warning bell in the background.
Yeah.
And then bam, entered Dominic.
Oh, boy.
Eddie spots him at the ship's bar, and it's like someone just sucked all the air out of the room.
Oh, wow.
Turns out they go way back, work together at a software company called Fenton's.
Okay.
Dominic was Eddie's boss, but not the kind you'd want to invite to your birthday party.
Understatement of the century.
Right.
It soon revealed that Dominic wasn't just a demanding boss. He was actively sabotaging Eddie, taking credit for his work. Basically a classic corporate bully in a fancy suit. This wasn't just healthy competition. This was calculated and cruel.
Yeah.
And it ultimately led to Eddie losing his job.
The book flashes back to this tense scene at Fenton's 16 years before the cruise, and you instantly get the picture.
Yeah.
Dominic is condescending, criticizing Eddie for being too hands-on with clients.
Oh, geez.
He downplays this huge contract that Eddie secured in Moscow, implying that it was all luck.
Really?
It's infuriating to read.
And so relatable. And unfortunately, have you ever been in a situation where someone in a position of power completely undermined your hard work?
Oh, absolutely.
That feeling of injustice, the anger, the frustration, Cowell captures it perfectly.
Oh, it's like that sinking feeling in your stomach when you realize you're dealing with someone who will always prioritize their own ego over fairness and integrity.
Ugh, yeah, it's the worst.
The book has this side character, Clive, and he sums Dominic up perfectly.
Okay.
He says, he's a bully in a shirt and tie.
So true.
So true.
And what's even more disturbing is that this incident happened years ago, yet it still has such a visceral impact on Eddie.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes about the lasting psychological scars of workplace bullying.
The trauma is literally playing out in Eddie's dreams.
Oh.
He has this nightmare where he's trapped on a sinking ship surrounded by those champagne glasses.
Oh, no.
And get this, Dominic is taunting him on the phone.
Boy, yeah.
Clearly, there's some deep symbolism at work here.
The sinking ship is a powerful metaphor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Think about it. It could represent Eddie feeling overwhelmed by Dominic's presence. Like his past is literally resurfacing and threatening to pull him under.
Yeah.
But those champagne glasses, they add another layer.
All right.
Could they represent the guilt Eddie feels about his newfound wealth, knowing how much he suffered while Dominic seemingly thrived?
Wow. I hadn't thought about the guilt aspect, but that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like he's enjoying this luxurious life, but a part of him is still haunted by what Dominic did, by the unfairness of it all.
Exactly. And it shows that even when we achieve outward success, inner peace can remain elusive if we haven't fully dealt with past wounds.
The cruise docks in Barbados, and wouldn't you know it, Eddie runs into Dominic again.
Oh, no.
This time with his girlfriend Jen, who happens to be the ship's singer. And here's the kicker. Dominic doesn't even recognize Eddie.
It's almost insulting, right?
Yeah.
It reveals just how little regard Dominic has for the people he's hurt. He doesn't even remember Eddie.
Right.
Doesn't acknowledge the pain he caused.
Yeah.
It speaks to a profound lack of empathy and self-awareness.
It's like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And you can feel the tension building towards a confrontation.
Oh.
Later that night on the ship's deck, things finally boil over.
Oh, boy.
They get into a full-blown physical fight.
Wow.
It's brutal and raw, and it's clear that for Eddie, this isn't just about punches thrown.
Yeah.
It's about releasing years of pent-up anger and frustration.
It's a turning point in the novel.
Yeah.
Up until this point, Eddie has mostly internalized his anger, his resentment.
Right.
This fight, as unsettling as it is, becomes a form of catharsis.
Yeah.
He's finally standing up to his bully, refusing to be silenced any longer.
And then right after the fight, Dominic vanishes.
The mystery thickens.
But before we dive into that disappearance, the book takes us back to the aftermath of that initial conflict at Fenton's.
Okay.
It turns out Dominic didn't just stop at public humiliation.
No.
He went a step further, using a fabricated budget discrepancy to justify firing Eddie.
Wow.
It's cold, calculated, and devastating for Eddie.
This is where we see the true extent of Dominic's manipulative nature.
Yeah.
He's willing to destroy someone's career to protect his own image and advance his own interests.
Right.
It's a chilling reminder that not everyone plays fair in the corporate world, and sometimes the most charming individuals are the ones you need to watch out for.
Absolutely.
It's a harsh reality check. And the novel doesn't shy away from the fallout. We see Eddie spiraling after his dismissal from Fenton's unemployment, depression, financial ruin. It's heartbreaking to see how this one act of betrayal has a domino effect on his entire life. He even reaches a point where he's watching a dog therapist on TV.
Oh, wow.
Feeling completely lost and broken.
That scene with the dog therapist is so poignant. It's like a visual representation of how low Eddie has sunk.
Right.
He's surrounded by this luxurious setting on the cruise, yet internally he's grappling with the darkest chapter of his life.
It perfectly captures that theme of sinking versus swimming that runs throughout the novel.
Right.
Eddie is literally sinking under the weight of Dominic's actions, struggling to stay afloat amidst the turmoil. But then there's Lynn, his wife. She's his rock, his anchor.
Yeah.
Even when she temporarily leaves to cope with her own anxieties, her eventual return becomes a turning point for Eddie.
Lynn's character is so interesting. She's not just a supportive spouse. She has her own complexities, her own struggles, and her temporary departure is a wake-up call for Eddie.
Right.
It forces him to confront the depth of his despair and realize he needs to fight for his life, for their relationship.
Her absence, as painful as it is, becomes the catalyst for change. Eddie realizes he can't just wallow in self-pity. He has to take action, take responsibility for his own happiness. And that's when we see the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Eddie starts a new business, working tirelessly to rebuild his life brick by brick.
And he doesn't just rebuild, he thrives.
He does.
He finds success on his own terms, proving that he doesn't need the validation of a toxic corporate environment to achieve his goals. He even partners with Clive, his loyal colleague from Fenton's, and together they develop this innovative online training course, People Skills for Successful Business.
The irony isn't lost, is it?
Oh, absolutely not.
Here's Eddie, who was unfairly dismissed for being too hands-on, with clients creating a program that emphasizes the very skills that Dominic so clearly lacked.
Right.
It's a testament to the fact that genuine success often comes from authenticity, empathy, and building strong relationships. Something Dominic, with all his manipulations, could never grasp.
It's almost poetic justice. But while Eddie is finding his way back to the light, the mystery of Dominic's disappearance is still looming over the cruise.
Right.
Then, while Eddie and Lynn are in Barbados, they see a news report that sends shockwaves through their world. Dominic is missing, presumed dead, and get this, he's been linked to a string of financial frauds.
Talk about a plot twist.
Yeah.
The guy who built his career on deceit and manipulation gets caught in his own web of lies. It's a classic case of karma.
Yeah.
But it also raises some complex questions. Is this a form of justice? Can we find satisfaction in the downfall of someone who caused us so much pain?
It's definitely not a simple black and white situation. On the one hand, there's a sense of relief that Dominic's manipulative tactics have finally been exposed. But on the other hand, there's this unsettling ambiguity surrounding his fate. Did he choose to end his life? Was he the victim of something more sinister? The novel doesn't give us a clear answer, leaving us to ponder the complexities of morality and the consequences of our actions.
And that's what makes this book so thought-provoking. It doesn't offer easy answers or neatly tied-up endings. It leaves us wrestling with these questions, just like Eddie is wrestling with his own complicated feelings towards Dominic.
Let's talk about those feelings for a moment, because even though Dominic wronged Eddie in such a profound way, there's a part of Eddie that still struggles with anger, even fantasizing about vandalizing Dominic's car. It shows that healing from betrayal isn't a linear process. It's messy, it's emotional, and it takes time.
Exactly. And those moments of darkness are what make Eddie's journey so relatable. He's not some saintly figure who effortlessly forgives and forgets.
Right.
He's a real person grappling with real emotions. He's angry, he's hurt. And he even has moments where he wants to lash out, but ultimately he chooses a different path. He channels his energy into building a new life, a successful life, proving that he won't be defined by Dominic's actions.
And Lynn's role in his recovery can't be overstated. She's the steady presence in his life, the one who helps him navigate those turbulent emotional waters even when she temporarily leaves. It's out of a need for self-preservation, not a lack of love. Their relationship, despite its challenges, is a beautiful testament to the power of partnership and support in overcoming adversity.
Absolutely. And their reunion marks a significant shift in Eddie's journey. He realizes that true strength lies not in isolation, but in connection, in allowing himself to be vulnerable and supported by those who love him. He starts to see success not just in terms of financial gain, but in the richness of his relationships, his rekindled passion for work, and the inner peace he's finally found.
And that inner peace is palpable in the ending. Remember that earlier image of Eddie tossing champagne glasses into the sea almost blindly?
I do.
Now at the end of the novel, he's able to clearly distinguish between the stars and the island lights on the horizon. It's like he's finally gained clarity, a sense of perspective that was missing before.
That's such a brilliant observation. It's as if the darkness that clouded his vision has lifted, allowing him to see the world and himself with newfound clarity. He's no longer letting the weight of the past define him. He's chosen to move forward, carrying the lessons, but not the burden.
And that brings us back to those champagne glasses. At the beginning, they seemed like a symbol of fleeting joy, almost reckless abandon. But by the end, they take on a new meaning, don't they?
Absolutely. It's like Eddie has learned to appreciate the moment without being weighed down by the fear of losing it all. He's found a balance between celebrating success and acknowledging the fragility of life. That newfound clarity, that ability to see both the stars and the island lights. It's a beautiful metaphor for his personal growth.
It's like he's finally learned to swim, navigating the currents of life with strength and grace, instead of being pulled under by the tides of the past.
Precisely. And that brings us to the heart of the novel's message, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just a story about revenge or corporate shenanigans. It's about the power of resilience, the capacity to overcome adversity and emerge stronger on the other side.
Right.
It's a reminder that we all face challenges, setbacks, betrayals, but it's how we choose to respond to those experiences that truly defines us.
It's about finding that inner strength, that unwavering belief in ourselves, even when the world feels like it's crumbling around us. Eddie could have easily succumbed to bitterness and despair, but he chose to fight, to rebuild, to reclaim his life on his own terms.
And that's a powerful message for all of us, isn't it? Whether we're dealing with a toxic work environment, a personal betrayal, or simply the everyday struggles of life, Sink or Swim offers a blueprint for navigating those choppy waters. It reminds us that we have the power to choose our course, to learn from our mistakes, and to keep striving for a brighter horizon.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Sink or Swim, I'm curious what resonated with you the most. Was it Eddie's resilience? Lynn's unwavering support, the ambiguity surrounding Dominic's fate?
For me, it's the reminder that true success isn't just about external achievements like wealth or status,
Right.
but about internal fulfillment, about finding that sense of peace and purpose that allows us to navigate life's storms with a steady hand.
Yeah.
Eddie's journey is a testament to the fact that even when we've been knocked down, even when we feel like we're drowning, we always have the power to choose to swim.
And sometimes that act of swimming, of pushing forward, even when the currents are strong, is the greatest victory of all.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought.
Okay.
What does success mean to you? And what choices are you making each day to ensure you're swimming, not sinking in your own life?
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Of course.
We hope you'll resurface with some new insights and a renewed sense of hope, knowing that even in the deepest depths, there's always a way to find your way back to the surface.